Web, making her nightly web.
I need to set up cameras in my backyard to catch the deer that are like walking across my yard.
Oh, I bet you we have tons here, like coyotes and stuff. Set up a whole YouTube channel just on the nightly crazy activities out here. We'll give it one more minute before we get started. Give people a little more time to get into the swing of things.
Charmaine, what do you post?
What is that? Oh, I think she wants the food.
Oh.
Yes, Jake is supposed to be here. Go wake him up. All right. I guess we've got a good crew going, so let's get her started. I want to welcome everybody officially to the first stage of the new year. I hope that everyone had an awesome holiday season and a good little break, but it's time to get back into all things ants. I'm going to do the little housekeeping before I hand this off to Sol, but I want to remind everybody to post your in-game ID in our ID channel to get a little something extra for hanging out with us today. The hand up icon is not to say hello, it's to request to come up on stage and have a conversation, ask your questions live. If you are not comfortable coming up and have a question, feel free to use our live chat channel to interact with the staff and the other players in the game, having fun hanging out with us today. And that's all for now. I will hand this over to Sol to get us started.
Well, first off, I want to welcome everyone back to live stage from our holiday break. For those of you who've been following us for a while, we typically take the last month of the year to spend some time with our families and everything before getting back into the daily activities that happen in our lives and in the game. But we have a lot to cover today because of that. So if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to post them in the live chat or raise your hand, and we'll bring you up on stage while we go over some of the items that we have planned for today. Most importantly, I guess, we're going to discuss the latest season event. In the time that we were on break, all of those seasons concluded. For those in some of the older servers, we had a new event with the S3X mutated event. The picture I just posted in the live chat is of the top ranked events from that, both in champion points, kills, etc. This season has expanded into some more servers this time, and then there's also been changes that were made to the season. So not complete changes, obviously. The event is going to play out the same as it has before, but in the first season event, there was like kind of a mini event within the event that earned additional rewards. They called it Plum Fruit, but basically there were two zones that were separated, giving each team one of the zones. And eventually you would have to fight to get into those zones. I don't know in our audience how many experience that, but they are making a complete change to that. That mini event is no longer going to be in the new season, and they are going to be doing a slightly different one now. So, I don't, what's your take on that, Bug and Nim? Do you think that this is going to be something that's going to change every season, or do you think this is kind of just a like the mini event's going to be a one and done type of thing?
I mean, I think it's
Um,
gonna occur again and again. I think they just modified it a bit because this was the first experience or the beta version of the event, and maybe they decided they want to do it a little bit differently this time, next time around.
How about you, Nim?
I mean, I like the idea of having the mini event inside the event because it, promotes more fighting. I know, like, for my event, we had a lot of fun in the mini event and pushed each other's buttons pretty good. So I do think though that changing it up with this new event is probably the right move because I think there were a lot of ties and or like stalemates when it came to other people's events. So I think this will be a better opportunity for everyone to potentially get rewards.
Yeah, the one thing that my event wound up being a tie, and I'm speaking to members in the community. I know of at least 3 or 4 others that were also resulted in a tie. Like basically, people were stuck at each other's gates. Like it was, like nobody could like break into each other's plum fruit, which wound up making it that it was in order to win the event, you had to have more plump fruit points than your opponent. And in order to gain plump fruits, you had to capture buildings within your area and then try to grab buildings in their area. So, you know, in my event, um, we wound up getting stuck at the gates. Like neither team could break through each other's walls of towers that were created at the gates. I know of another event one of my friends was on that they were actually able to break into their enemy area and grab a building, but because of the timing of everything, they wound up getting pushed back and losing that building again. So it resulted in a tie because, like just so much effort was expended that the other team was able to regroup or get the teams to push them back or whatever may be the case. But so that one resulted in a tie, and I heard of a couple other that had similar situation as us where they were tied at the gates. So um this one, who knows? The fact that it's based on time of being in the conjects, I think it's going to be much harder, if not impossible, for it to be a tie per se, depending on how this plays out, right?
Yeah, it's got to be impossible. You're either in it more or not. There's not going to be the possibility for a tie, even if it's by a millisecond or something like that. But I think that's specifically why they did change, is to avoid a tie scenario and so that everybody can get those mini game or, game event with an event rewards.
The thing is though, Bug, it might still be able to be a tie because if you can, like, depending on where these conjects are on the map, you have to build to them, right? So if a team can successfully block each other from making the connection to that conjact, then I guess it could result in a tie, right? Like, let's say each team is able to prevent the other team from connecting to the conjact that's in their area. It could theoretically result in a tie. We just have to kind of see how it plays out, right?
Well, we have 3 separate or 6 teams with 2 camps. So I think it's improbable that at least one of the teams within one camp won't get trampled on a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting either way.
I think it's just less likely in this scenario than
Yeah, I
the
agree.
original plum fruit. I think it's still possible, but percentage wise, we're probably looking at it being less likely. So more teams will either win or lose that specific event.
So just to recap or summarize, what we do know is there's going to be 6 conjacks. There just happens to be 6 teams. So it seems like each team or alliance is going to have their own conjack in their zone that they're going to have to defend.
Potentially, yeah.
But then they're going to also have to go on the offensive in order to win the event too. So it can't be just you defend your own conjack, right? Because if everyone's in their own conjack for just the period of time, they're not going to be able to gain more points than their opponents.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, you're eventually going to have to leave your conjack and go to an enemy conjack and hijack it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like the plum fruit event when we had the conversation before the break and before we knew what the kind of how that gameplay would go. It's like it's going to depend on how you plan with your team. Strategy is going to play into it because you might have 2 teams heading towards the conjacks because you don't know how many players you need to hold these things even. You know what I mean? So it'll be like, how do you divide your power and play the map depending on who you're allied against or enemies are? You know what I mean? So a lot of that will play into how this unfolds, and we won't know that until we get to see the board and the timing and the people we're with.
Yeah, that kind of brings up the other topic that we've discussed in the past with like CSC and how important it is now with activity of players and stuff when it comes to these events. I mean, like time over time, we keep seeing that activity of players. The events are getting like more and more complicated, right? As we progressed. Lost Island was kind of build towers towards buildings and everyone rushing to the tree and a little bit of diplomacy and everything. And now we've gotten into events where it was lopsided, like vast jungle, and then it's morphed into this mutated event where it's back to being kind of on level teams. But how were your guys as CSCs? And especially those in the audience, do you guys see a lot of player movement, especially with the expansion of a lot of the servers? Jake did mention to us that their server range expanded pretty exponentially. I know my server range increased in the previous CSC, and now we're seeing a little bit more movement across a multitude of servers.
Yeah,
How about you guys?
I saw some movement for sure. I moved myself. I saw some big players coming to the alliance that I moved to as well, which I think is gonna shake things up. It's creating a void from wherever I and some other players left, and there's good amount of shifting going on. So I think it's just gonna help the matchmaking. Really, it's becoming more like fine tuned. Each alliance is gathering what they want, whether it's high activity and or power or just simply really active players, right? So I think expanding the range has helped some of those players who are really active to find what they're looking for. We still have sort of that maybe that issue, don't we, where you're stuck and can't CSC for a few days? Is that still happening?
Well, I mean, yeah, things like AE locking down the alliance and stuff like that does limit movement during those days when that happens. And then,
So what I saw this time is I saw a lot of people entering before that occurred.
Hmm.
I think they kind
Yeah,
of knew that was coming, so they jumped ship, before, so they didn't get stuck.
yeah. Typically, I mean, that's usually when CSC opens, you see a lot of movement like right away, and then it kind of slows down, and then it picks right back up like right towards the end. That's typically how I see it once AE ends, right? Like then you'll see the last of the players moving around or whatever, and then it closes up.
Yeah, and I'm a little
Well, and
afraid. Oh, sorry. Go ahead now.
no, you keep going.
I was a
Finish your thought.
little afraid with the alliance that I went to. Myself and some other players made that alliance a little bit stronger, and I came from an alliance where I was the strongest. So I'm like, oh boy, who am I gonna match up with? Is this gonna be? But hopefully, it's gonna be someone with relatively equivalent power, because that's the whole point of this new symmetrical game system with S3X, is that it's not asymmetrical with unbalanced teams anymore, and they're really trying to balance out, the power and activity of both camps.
I'm gonna tell you right now, like my personal event last season, I thought the matchmaking was terrible at first when I landed because like our team is probably one of the strongest in the game, if not the strongest in the game. And we matched against the second strongest or strongest in the game. I mean, like it's debatable between the two teams. I would say like honestly, ours is probably the strongest in the game, and the team we matched against was the second strongest. But then they wound up getting like way stronger allies than we did. So it kind of balanced it. But one of the teams was really far behind all of us. And I thought it was going to be like no chance we're going to be able to overcome that level of strength. But then in the end, we wound up winning the event because, like, to be honest with you, like, our camp was just a lot more active. And, when it came time to fighting, like it was easily told that, like, at the plump fruit portion of it, both teams were pretty equal. And so I don't know. In the end, after reviewing everything and going through the season, I thought the matchmaking was very good. I don't know about your guys' events, but um, you know, the one factor that is just kind of like I don't even know how the devs could really put this into matchmaking, but I'm telling you guys, activity over everything is like key. Like teams being, players showing up for the fights and building for the targets and participating in the captures so that everything kind of flows seems to win the day more so than even strength a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the CSC portion, just with a few thoughts of my own. I think that looking back now in how I've played this game, CSC plays there's a lot more rules to how we play CSC, like looking at bringing in, because before you would kind of just take everybody as long as they weren't a pirate, and that was and they were active. But now I know for us that we are careful on how we balance power. Personality does play into it, and those types of things, but it's a more strategic way of bringing in players. The conversations that we have around what we're looking for is different. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that there's, especially how gameplay is more like equally matched when you're on the board. You don't want to be overpowered, because quite frankly, like I have zero desire to ever meet some of the teams you've played in Seoul, because like just no thank you. Like I'm happy being, a tier down from that and how we play. So we are careful to do that, right? So because we don't want to ever bite off more than we can chew, where we know what our abilities are and how we play. And so when we CSC and bring in players, how we look at it now is not the same way as we looked at it early game, for sure.
I mean, the thing is, Nim, like I've always looked at you know, like when it comes to like all the teams out there and all the different ranges and everything, just like you mentioned, different tiers, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, I've been on teams where it's like, okay, you know, maybe this account is too strong to bring into our alliance because it's going to affect our matchmaking, you know, blah, 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 whatever may be the case, right? And then I've been on the teams where it doesn't matter. I mean, like you could bring in anybody and it's not going to affect it. You're already like going to match against hard teams regardless, right? So every one of these teams has to find that balance, right? Like sometimes it makes it easier having, you know, certain players on there and other times it doesn't. But I'm telling you right now, like the one thing that the devs I don't think have been able to like factor for is going to be like activity level. I mean that
Mhm.
like, at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you know your stats are much lower than your opponents. If those players are playing when the time is needed, you know, everything helps. And that's typically what I'm seeing that determines the outcomes of these seasons. Like I
Mhm.
said, we had a team on our event that was so far behind the other 5 teams on there. I couldn't even believe that they matched at the levels that we were playing. But they turned out to be super active. I mean, like they turned out to be the team that probably determined the event because it was so close in like uh, levels of accounts on all the other teams that had it not been for them being super active, it probably would have been a totally different outcome in the event. And they were the team that I thought was going to like really bring down our camp because they weren't going to be able to defend against you know the much stronger teams, but because of that strategy and everything that was used to like you know kind of make sure they always had support from the other teams in our camp when making their pushes or defending or whatever, and them showing up to actually defend and everything, it worked out perfectly. So you know, and I don't know that like it's kind of up to the R5s that are bringing in people into CSC to determine like
Mhm.
how active this player is. And it's very hard to do that, right? Like, you know, someone could have a ton of kills, right? And look like, oh man, this guy fights in a lot of events or whatever may be the case. But, you know, they could be farming speed heals on their home server and, you know, they're kind of thrown off by it, right? So,
That's a problem we ran into in our last season was we were very much disregarded and underestimated because for the majority of our events we get 1 or 2 good fights and then they're like no. So our kills are not nearly reflective of what we bring to the table, but a lot of people that's the measurement they think is the end all be all. Well, we don't farm kills off season and we're you know what I mean? So it's like challenging to use that as a base parameter of what a team can bring to the table. And so, like for us, we got disregarded when we wanted to. I mean, we did win our season, but it was like they didn't have respect for our decision making and conversation, and so it became a challenge. So it's like don't underestimate a team just based on like the numbers that you're seeing on a page because that may not be reflective of what they're actually bringing to the team and to the event itself.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy where, you know, kills don't represent the full accurate picture. It's almost like you can have a mask on with your kill count. I mean, I can gain 250 million kills every Friday on War of Kings just by sitting in the quarters and helping people to accumulate, you know, farming speed ups. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had been doing that for 3 years, I'd have 1 trillion kills, but I haven't done that often. So yeah, I mean, some people can have a lot of kills. What I do think though is the kill count in newer servers is maybe a little bit
more
more.
accurate.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Potentially, yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I mean, here's the other thing too. Like players' dynamics change, right? I mean, you could have a player that was a stud for months and months playing the game and multiple different seasons, has huge kill counts, and then all of a sudden, like, they're not playing the game as often or whatever may be the case. And you bring them in thinking that they're going to, whatever, because based on kill counts from 15 seasons ago, right? I mean, like,
Mhm.
there have been that many seasons now. So Ulexi made a good point that heal count says more than kill count, which is true overall. But again, none of this really accounts for actual activity when it comes to the important things for a season on teams that want to be competitive. Of course, like, every, we're talking about trying to play on like a competitive or semi-competitive team, right, for an event. I mean, there's all different types of players. There's some players that want to chill and relax and whatever. And so, I just think overall communication between like the leaders of a team when you're trying to CSC into and like laying it all out on the table, like, hey, yeah, I want to, I'm going to play like 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day, and that's what I'm willing to do, and blah 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 blah, and make a decision based on that, because there's a lot of teams out there that just want to chill and go to a laid back event, and there's other teams that want to go and put it all on the line because that's what they enjoy in the game. So
Yeah.
Delulu
Yeah.
is
I
saying,
just,
oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I was just saying, Delulu is saying, so you want a new key performance indicator of like hours online, of course, actively online.
That'd be challenging though, because some people are
that
just
one,
chatting.
I would love that, or I would love that to be a factor. But the problem with that is you can be online a lot, right? I mean, dude, you could leave your phone or your computer on with your hill, open and have huge hours online. But I mean, it's not going to indicate whether you're active. Yeah, just like Matt Nubb said, I can't tell you how many times I've woken up in R0 because, or woken up back at the um, bunkhouse, right? Back in my position because I fell asleep in the middle of a fight or whatever, and they needed the spot, and so they'd R0 me and put me in back at the bunkhouse, and I wake up, back at rank. But how did I wind up at the bunkhouse? The last thing I remembered, I was fighting for this tower.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've definitely lost my hill on the map where you wake up and you're like, where am I?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. You for sure.
My team did something that I never really thought of that was like super smart, man. But this was the way that they kind of determined the activity level of the players when like the key moment, right? So what they did was they took like when the squirrel area opened, which was basically the battle for the win of the event. Our R5 or maybe some of the R4s. I don't know who's responsible for tracking it, but they took the March's scent and hold on. There's an indicator. Let me see if I can pull up what they did, but basically they took find the picture. Give me 1 second here. But they took like March's, like they recorded how many total
battles.
total battles, but that doesn't work because you still are hunting insects, right?
Hmm.
So they took the total marches sent subtracted the total insects hunted. And so that basically gives you how many times. Okay, here, that's what it is. So total battles won, and wild creature kills. Okay. So they basically grabbed every single player's total battles, wound up subtracting the wild kills just for that time period, right? That you were the days that you from when that squirrel event opened. So that basically showed how many sends you sent to towers versus, wild creatures, right? Because if you eliminate the wild creatures, you're eliminating the non-important aspects of what they're looking for, right? Like, it didn't matter whether you won or lost the battle. It didn't matter whatever. It just like was counting how many times you sent to towers. And to me, I thought that was absolute genius. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, you could like 100% know who was participating in the actual battles because, on that date, that's what they tracked, right? Like just those 4, 5, 6 days when the event first started, you could see how many times your teammates actually sent troops to join rallies or fight for a tower or whatever may be the case, because your total battles minus the insects.
Yeah, that's a great indicator. I mean, especially
Yeah.
if you're trying to cut players who are the least active, the bottom 10% or whatever, or just not active enough to be worth bringing them. That's a great way to look and see, oh, okay, well, yeah, you didn't do much at all compared to the rest of us, so maybe you ought to go to a more laid back team.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought that was a great way to actually track activity. Like it was a fair way to do it, right? You're not just basing it off of strength. Like a lot of the other indicators are strength based. Okay, but Alexi, even if it doesn't count lizards, geckos, crabs, bunny snakes, hedgehogs, you got 20 lizards and you've got 5 of the other things well on season. So even if you subtracted 25 from every player, it still is a good indicator.
Yeah, because you're talking for me like 170,000 battles versus 70 wild creature kills, so you can easily see there's 100,000 battles there.
Yeah, but Bug, what I'm talking about is they took your initial number, right?
Yeah,
from the day that event opened, right? So like that was your starting number, right? And so like let's say you did 100 battles, okay? Well, you can say 20 of those were hunting hornets, most likely, whatever. But even if you don't, you can actually count the hornet ones, because all you have to do is take those first 2 numbers as your starting reference point.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to make a point that 25 per day or whatever in the grand scheme of things isn't gonna do anything when your total battles is 100,000. And then you do.
Oh yeah, tiles are another one. That's true. They could have been hunting tiles.
It sounds like a lot of math.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing though. Again, you're talking, someone doing that is doing it at the highest levels of this game, right? Like they're like anyone that's tracking like this is doing it at the highest levels. So for a more laid back alliance, this isn't even really necessary.
And the other thing is too, everybody's doing lizards, geckos, crabs, bunnies, snakes, whatever. So you know what I mean? It kind of cancels itself out.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have a few people that do 2 or 3 more than the next person, but I mean, it's all going to be relatively equal. especially in
I
season.
mean, and all jokes aside, I mean, I love the players in this game who get down to those statistics and create those pathways and knowledge. Like, especially for a player like me, like I don't know what I would do without the players that are doing those types of grinding and numbers, and like even the ant maps are match, like the ant sheet info sheet that we're all desperately waiting for the new season ants and stuff. Like without that, the players that do all of that testing, I mean, God bless them. Because for a player like me, I am super and forever grateful.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to
Snoozy,
put that together.
Snoozy, I don't think Alliance Evo itself plays a large factor in matchmaking. That just wouldn't make sense. There's too many teams that have like jumped around from server to server, and they grab a shell that probably has really low Alliance Evo. So I highly doubt that is a fact. If I were to guess, none of us know the real answer, but if I were to guess, I would say cave scores in general are going to be the biggest factor, but I don't think it can be gamed. Like, I don't think that like players that purposely avoid doing the cave um, things affect their matchmaking. They're still gonna match strong. Um, and it was a fairy response of what was involved in matchmaking.
Hmm.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I've always played this. Actually, right now I'm playing on a team that just took over a shell. So we'll see. Maybe we match really low because of it. So, but I don't know. Every team I've ever played on has super high Alliance Evo because they've been like full shells since like the game started on the servers.
Yeah, also it
But
depends when the fairy said that, because I mean, if they said that 2 years ago versus last month, maybe. And I mean, the Alliance Evo might add 10% attack, 10% this, 10% here, and depending on how high your individual stats go, that is a little bit nominal, 10% out of 3,000, or when you after you get your buffs in Island, you know, it's it's a minute
you want to
difference.
know what my personal opinion is on matchmaking? What I like, I think it is based off of.
Let me flip a coin. Okay, yes.
Yeah. I honestly think the most important factors of matchmaking are going to be cave scores, and not necessarily the actual cave score of the individual player, but what they would be if they actually participated in them. Okay, so I think the devs can see that. Like, whether you actually do the cave score or not, I don't think it matters. I know there's players out there that purposely don't do cave so that their cave scores are really low, hoping that it affects their matchmaking. I don't think that's a factor. I think the devs know what the stats of that player are, to the point of where they would rank in the cave score, whether they participated in it or not. But I think a much more important factor is overall insect levels. Like, what the insect levels are of like the entire combination of players average out on that team, I'm very confident that plays a major factor in it.
Uh-oh. That's not good for me. I have a lot of bugs.
Imagine that, bud.
I just got
I don't
my
know.
7th 11-star insect yesterday or the day before.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the insects that are on the account. I'm talking about like your 4 strongest insects or whatever, right? The insects that are in your, well, I guess it could be overall insects in your on your account. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't it be? But yeah, I because that's a very easy thing for them to be able to track, right? And so like that would give you like overall strength going down the entire team.
Mhm. Yeah, especially like the level of the pro. I mean,
Ooh, I like your tracking.
yeah, that looks like it's something from the stock market. Is that even for this game?
couple of alliances from Baron. Players. Wow.
Man,
I
that's
like
pretty.
that. That is very pretty. I wonder what teams he's tracking. Oh,
Aren't they along the
he's
top?
got him up at the top. Yeah. Look at that.
Pretty cool.
Ugh,
Hmm.
I would love to have you in my alliance. Oh, it's from a friend. Okay, well, I'll tell your friend to come over. Join our group.
Give us his number,
He's
her number.
them, they're in your group.
Oh, cool.
You know where to go.
Them, they're in your group. 867 903, right? That's your.
Nope.
That's your.
No, we're till 8:50.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So they're in the group after you.
So maybe Jake's, no, probably just before Jake's range.
Jordy.
But they can always make a mini account.
More hands to Supreme. I don't know. I think we would have to do one more season, or maybe close to when the next season event. So I don't think it's going to be anytime super soon. Just because if you look at how they do it, like S5 ants were introduced, but you still get S4 ants in S3.
I think what they may do.
Maybe
because-
what they do is just the ones that were harder to get, right? Get moved into Supreme. Bug,
I was
isn't
thinking,
that the step that they take?
well, because I complain so much, and I think a lot of people complain so much from hatching season eggs. They got like season 1 or 2 or whatever ants. I don't know, but they
Mm.
didn't
but
get
usually-
it. I think they should eliminate some of that rather than trying to put better ants into the orange eggs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, well that's for sure. But like Bison is one of the rare the rare hatch from season 4. So when they typically will introduce those into the Supreme, that would be the next logical step, right?
Mhm.
If they go into Supreme, like Sly Hunter and Bison are the harder to hatch.
Yeah. And Mimic Crawler.
I like to increase the hatch rate in the season.
Hmm.
I like
Of
that
the
one.
more rare ants, for sure.
I mean, it was this last season was kind of a catch-22. The those that purchase eggs, it was definitely less expensive this time around because of the increase in amount of eggs per pack. But
Mhm.
so I'm sure that's going to continue. I bet you any money that the devs made a killing with players that got so frustrated with buying eggs and not getting enough season ants. But the hatch rate, what did we factor, Bug, when we were looking at it? Like almost seemed 1 in every 100.
Or 125. Some people got better, some people got worse, but
Yeah, so it seemed that you would get 1 season 5 ant in 100 to 125 hatches is what we factored. And that does not include hitting the chest, right?
right.
So if you hatched 125 ants on the last season, you should have gotten 1 natural S5 hatch plus the 100th hatch S5 ant. I mean, that's
Yeah, or if you're hatching between 101 and 226, you're going to get at least 1 S5 ant. Where it did drop off was after
2.
800.
You would get 2 plus the chest, right?
Well, between 101 and 426, you would just get 1 because it's in between the 2 guaranteed hatches. Because you got one guaranteed at 3 and a guaranteed at 500. So you can get the 300 or 100th guaranteed hatch, then go from 101 to 126, and you're going to get 1. And then from 127 to two, I'm sorry, yeah, 127 to what, 252, you're gonna get another one, and then you're gonna get another one at 300. But we were just counting specifically everyone in 125 or so. In between those guaranteed hatches, you're gonna get a S5 ant, which seemed a little high of a number, right? You would think that maybe it would be like I was hoping closer to 80-ish, 60-ish,
Yeah.
because that
I
means
mean,
you have to buy.
ultimately, I don't like like, it just boggles my mind why S1 ants are in that hatch pool.
Right. That's why I think they're going to change that sooner than they're going to add new, better ants to the orange eggs. Um, I think a lot of people complained about, and if you haven't, please do, because
Exactly.
I would like to see, those ants disappear from purchasing special season ants. We've had those ants for like for some people 3 years now, and there's just no reason we need them. I mean, I'm not even hatching golden armor or giant jaw or anything like that anymore. So why should I be hatching S1 ants?
Hmm.
Yeah, that to me is just absurd. That those ants are even in the all S1, S2, even I would argue S3 should be in Supreme and not even available in the season hatches. S5s, S4s. I mean, okay, throw the S3s in there, but an S1 or S2 ant should not be in the season hatch pool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I mean, I guess you got to still account for the newer servers, maybe, but they can just get them in Supreme hatches.
Well, they couldn't even get to the S5 event yet until I
Hmm.
think this
No,
round,
no, no,
maybe.
I understand that, but I still think they can get S5 ants.
Yeah, they
Oh,
could still hatch them, I think.
Everything's equal, so like everything's equal across the game now.
oh,
So
okay.
like as soon as you go to an event, regardless of if you can go to the S5 event or not, you still can hatch S5 ants from the event that you're allowed to enter.
Okay. It's not just the guaranteed hatches, they can get in between as well.
What's that?
It's not just on the guaranteed hatches. They can get it. They can get
No,
S5
no, no. They
ants.
can get it in between. Just everything runs the same now.
Okay.
Like if you're on a newer server, you have access to the same ants at the same time that they're released to all of the servers. It's for them to catch up faster, basically.
Nice. Trying to see how many
I,
eggs.
I hope so, Snoozy. I'm looking for a wider range.
Oh, yes, please.
I don't know. This season, I'm kind of taking a little break. I went to a smaller team for a season, so we'll see. But to me, like the more range that opens up, the more teams congregate, the better the matchmaking becomes because typically it's more active players that tend to congregate together. Oh, new insect talk. We are actually right at that point, and I'm gonna have our
Hug.
superstar carrier player because I absolutely refuse to even
Yeah.
You should just say, have Bug
think,
talk about the
think
bugs.
about being a carrier player.
Yeah. So being a carrier player does have its challenges. But this new thorny scorpion, is that what it's called? Thorny scorpion, or spiky scorpion, thorny scorpion. I
Yeah,
mean, I got it because
sort of.
it's competitive in Dosa. It's got an increased. I mean, if you compare it to the lava scorpion, which is the last best paid insect, it's definitely better. It has to be. Um, Otherwise, nobody would buy it. So, I mean, you're getting increased stats if you had been using lava scorpion, This particular carrier insect, though, is pivoting. It's making a big shift from dodging. There's no dodge buffs in this. So previously, the carriers had been reliant at least somewhat on dodging the heavy attacks from shooters. Now they're trying to go and lean into negative status effects like poison and deal some damage right away instead of damage over time. They're sort of switching it and trying to have carriers deal a good amount of damage right up front. Now, that being said, I still in the caves, I use this insect with shooters and it does well because it's got a lot of attack buffs in it. It's got a lot of special ant skill, a lot of health. So I'm still doing okay with really nice shooter ants because I'm trying to like equal out my power in the caves. So that's sort of a special example. But nevertheless, it works really well in the caves with shooters even. It works in Duel of Special Ants. You're going to get an increase in stats there because it's just dealing with the base stats of insects and ants only. Doesn't take into account all of your other stats. So you're going to have an advantage in Duel of Special Ants as well. And I think for those people who are maybe having a little bit of difficulty acquiring the higher level nodes in season are not going to see that this time with this insect because of all that attack and health that it has rather than dodge and things like that. So that's basically my summary on it. I got it. I think it's great. One thing I will say is I still use the Phantom Mantis as my main insect only because it has just slightly more attack. And it's great for PvE, but this particular insect I think is maybe leaning towards being competitive in PvP, like in season and things like that, and maybe duels, regular duels. So I've been testing out, Matt, with this new insect. I've tried Lava Scorpion and I've tried Ghost Mantis. Um, I'm not sure which one is better yet, but I'm testing out Ghost at the moment and it seems to be doing well. Um, but I think Lava might have a slight edge. And if you don't have either of those, I would go with a helper insect that does inflict some negative status damage, like the Parachurnus or something that causes like bleeding or some negative status effect, because you're basically trying to spam these negative statuses, right? Hoping that some of them or many of them will all pop off at the same time. Oh,
Sorry. Sorry.
Saul being a. uh,
hey,
I'm
I
sorry,
think
Bird.
I'm not
I
following
came up with a funny. I just.
Oh, okay. Let me catch up. Give me a second.
it's like, I'm so glad that you take such an interest in the insects because, like, there's for like I think I've said it a billion times. I'm not a numbers person, so your perspective is helpful for me for sure when it comes to some of these new insects.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
when I first started in this game, like there were three of us, like we're like building up our accounts in the server, right? And me and my buddy were like pushing the shooter main route because we wound up getting the initial like good shooters. But one of our friends got carriers, and like he was building his account really nice, and like these carriers were shooting across, and we were so jealous of him. And then as the game progressed, it was like whatever. And but so I always like to poke fun at the carrier players, but the truth of the matter is I was really jealous of the overall, like not being glass cannons like shooters, but kind of slightly tanky. So I mean, It's all in good fun, Matt. I hope you don't take offense to anything that I was posting here. I was just joking around.
Yeah,
It's all in good fun.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know what though? I will have to say, I had been a carrier main for a long time. I'm trying to switch over to shooter or guard or shooter. I'm just buffing the others now rather than investing in carriers. And uh, so I have some beefed up carriers. It's still really hard to beat Giant Jaw. Giant Jaw, and if Giant Jaw's with Bright Ponerine, carriers are supposed to do really well against it. The guards right now are just absolutely killing it.
Bro, I keep losing in Dosa because these players have the new carrier insect and they're like nailing me in Dosa. And I'm like, I have to like rearrange my troops so that like my weakest unit goes up against whichever their unit that has the carrier one. Otherwise, they're like slaughtering me. I'm like, it is a good insect. I will tell you that for sure.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, look. Apparently I won a few against Snoozy.
uh-oh.
I don't know what that was, what that was in, if that was in duels or,
It looks duels.
That
yeah.
looks like duels.
Huh, didn't notice that. Oh, because it was last night. Maybe I was sleeping.
You check that to see who hit you in duels?
Only if I'm checking to see when I hit people and I don't win or I do win and by how much and try to analyze which formation does a little bit better or worse. Then I might
I've been
glance at who hits me.
I'm in so much trouble in Dosa this week. It's like not even funny.
Oh no.
I'm I'm purposely trying to prop up one of my friends that's on the team, right? He needs one more top 5 finish to get the medal, right?
Mm.
But there's like a super strong team that's on there. So like I'm constantly like purposely losing to push him to the top. But then there's like 10 players on their team all knocking him back down to the bottom. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do it this week.
You're gonna have to wait until the last day and then just try
I
to.
know I'm going to have to wait till the last day, but I'm like knocking all of their players down just to like get him pushed up and just not enough turns. Like I would have to like blow so many diamonds because there's too many of their players are in the top positions.
That's tough.
Say, I don't know. I'm going to have to wait till maybe the next time it opens up, but
Yeah. Well, that's a nice medal to finally get. I know some people who just got it recently this week, and I forget what the buffs are, but it was worth putting some effort towards. Also, if you like shiny things, it's shiny.
Said that for me. You know what I was just thinking? It was we're talking about all these ants. Like and because I've had discussions with you about it. Is whenever new ants are introduced, in like I'm a creature of comfort, and I get I like patterns and things to. So I've got comfortable with the way that my pro has looked for a long time, and I have to admit that I am struggling in some ways with the new shooter ants. I mean, it's a first world problem to have. I'm happy to have all these new S5 ants, but it's like I'm interested to see what the sort of like when the list comes out of how like what your pro and stuff should look like if you have these ants, because I still can't decide whether I have actually 2 pros now because I have some of the paid shooter ants, and so I am struggling with my lineups right now, like in a good way. It's not bad, like I'm not losing, but I just don't know what ants to use, and I'm using different ones in mines compared to duels compared to like fighting in game and AE, so it's like this. It's not a like some people thrive in this environment, and I'm just like, no, I just need someone to like. I need the list of where and how and what to try. Narrow it down for me, because being an ADHD kid, I wander off before I finish, and I'm like, why does my pro look like that? So
Yeah, I mean,
anyway,
you can have almost like 2
come on up.
pros.
Come on up. It's getting close to the end, and I want you to talk about the different groups that are open for official.
Oh,
Who's that?
Charmaine.
yeah, she should talk about it.
Oh,
New
okay.
year, new staff opportunities.
Or at least post it in the thing. I can discuss it if you don't want to come up on stage, but post the flyer that you have been sending around. But you know the teams better than I do. That's why like where availability is. But if you post it, I can discuss it. So here on official, I don't know if you listeners kind of know how it works, but all of the people that are working on official Discord, whether it be the mods or tactics or us here on stage, really we're all volunteers. We volunteer our time to official Discord, answering, there's ticket team. They respond to tickets and direct players into the right, or help them with issues on their accounts and stuff like that. So Charmaine here is one of our admins. She does amazing work. For any of you guys that don't know her, she's got her grubby little fingers in every one of our teams here on official. Very, very valuable asset to Ants official in knowing how all the different teams work and everything. So if any of you guys are interested in volunteering for our community team, please get in contact with her, one of the other admins, and they'll be able to direct you or answer based on what might interest you. Like I said, we have stage team here where we pretty much discuss latest news and events and kind of try to help teach the community about what's going on. There's a PR team, the mods in Discord to keep the chat safe and fun for everyone. Facebook mods do the same thing on Facebook. Tactics team is more involved in the actual building lineups and how certain ants and insects and stuff work, and where you can improve your stats on your account. Observer team writes guides and reports on like that glory item that I posted. A lot of stuff like that. Video team does videos. Event teams has community events that they plan out, but there's a lot of teams, and so depending on what your strengths are,
There's really something out there for everybody.
correct. Yep. So get in touch with Charmaine if you're interested, and she'll direct you into the right direction on whatever team it is that you're interested in. Sorry, guys. But what else did?
There was those
Oh.
VIP packs that end tonight.
Oh yeah, we definitely have to cover that. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the VIP area, and can you post those, Bug?
Yeah.
But the Bug's going to post it here in the live chat. We have about 7 or 8 hours left. But if you notice, there's a limited time purchase starting at VIP 4 all the way up to VIP 15. But they changed around that exclusive pack for having it. That's always been like a permanent pack that was there. And it gave you certain benefits. He's posting one of them right now.
I think that's
But
the new one, man.
that's the new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for VIP 14, the old one gave you some insects or whatever may be the case. So now that they've changed what they're giving you in that reward pack, you only have till the end of that. They had it going for a week where you could still grab the old one if you wanted to, and then the new one's coming out. So, obviously to each their own, but if you're no longer going to have a chance to grab that old one after reset today. So if it's something you guys want to do, make sure you grab it before reset, because other than that, it's going to be gone forever and you'll only have the new one available. Not a totally big deal. I'm sure most players that wanted to get it got it already because it's been out for years now. But just a heads up, I wanted to remind any players that, yeah, I do agree with that too, Snoozy. They should, that's been a long time that they should have improved the VIP levels, but that hasn't happened in
Yeah, that would be cool.
years. That's another one to go and put in suggestions. I'll vote that one up for sure.
Right.
You know what? I'll actually on that one. I'll personally submit next week when we send our report to the devs, especially since they've just changed the packs on it that are available. Although I suspect the reason they changed the packs was because they don't have any plans on upgrading the VIP level, but right? I mean, they make the packs all available again just so they don't have to increase the VIP level, but who knows?
There's so many levers in this game they can pull up or down. I think they're always working on some of them. So it's just a matter of how many people speak up about it.
Ulexi, that's a given. That's a given right there. That gets submitted all the time. Improve the hatch rates. I will give them props. I do like the fact that they increase the amount of eggs that they give. So like I think that was a good move to player satisfaction. 50 eggs or whatever in that top pack instead of 30, and all of them, even the lower packs gave you way more eggs. So small baby steps. All right, so I think that pretty much covers everything, guys, right?
Anything to add, Jake? Calling you out for sleeping in on us?
Nothing I really need to add, no.
Well, you
look who decided to join us. Oh, boy.
Love you, Jake.
Yeah, my alarm was ringing next to me when I woke up. I don't know how long it was ringing for, but it didn't wake me up.
By the time we have stage next week, I think all of the teams should have. I don't think we'll be on event. We won't be on event yet, but we will have all matched up. So those going to events, the matchmaking will be out, and I think we're going to probably spend a good little bit of time of next stage kind of going over to see whether or not the audience and us feel that the matchmaking is, more or less fair. So
yeah.
And I could be wrong, but Jake, is this your first time going to the newest event too? Like I'm can't quite remember because, break and all.
Yeah, we are. Last event was our first time at the wetlands, and then when we came home after the wetlands, we got offered the S3 mutated jungle, so we're gonna go to that.
So they won't have experienced the fruit event; they'll have just the konjac event. So it'll be interesting perspective.
Yeah, or maybe next week, since we're out of time now, or we could do a backstage. We may do a backstage this week. I'm not sure, but I'd like to talk about sort of the upcoming impact of Assault Soldier Ants, as some people,
because that's new soon,
maybe a little closer than some people think to getting those.
I don't know, dude. I think it's further away than. I don't know. I mean, if they come out, I think they're going to come out right at the very end of the season, right? If I'm doing my calculations right.
Probably, yeah. near the end. But I mean, even though coming out near the end, I mean, it's still going to give you an advantage at in the last quarter of the game. So it's not
Yeah, that's true.
it's not nothing.
I mean, I'll tell you what, next season is going to be
Oh yeah,
crazy. Not this coming season that we're all registered for, but the following season, absolute insanity. That one's going to be insane.
yeah. Good luck, devs.
All right. So have we sort of come to the full circle in our stage today? Are we good to go, you think?
Yeah, I'm good.
Any last minute from our amazing audience who managed to hang out with us this entire time that we've missed and maybe want to talk about?
Don't forget to post your IDs and live IDs so we can have the fairies send you guys a nice little gift.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us today. And stage is back to its regularly scheduled adventures. So we'll be around pretty much every Sunday unless something comes up, and we will notify the community of that. So please join us next week at 15 UTC. And we will let you know if we do a backstage, like Bug said this week, just to have a little more of the conversation and get back into what the community would like to talk about. As Soul said, please post your in-game ID in our live ID channel so that you can get a little something extra for hanging out with us today. We are always looking for in-game or player suggestions, so please also feel free to post any conversations you'd like to have in our Stage Topics channel. Yeah, and just thanks for coming back this new year, new season, new ants, and hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you
Anyone
guys so
else?
much for being here. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week or during the week if we do a backstage.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again.
See ya.
Goodbye.